"Sir, I need you to remove that pin. Now." The TSA agent's voice was firm, professional, but with an edge that suggested he wasn't asking, he was telling. Walter Chen looked up at the young man standing over him. The agent couldn't have been more than 25. Crew cut, clean uniform. The kind of by-the-book demeanor that came from wanting to do the job right, even if it meant missing the bigger picture. Walter was 78 years old. He'd been through the security line 100 times. He knew the drill: shoes off, belt off, jacket off, laptop out. But this time, something was different. The metal detector had beeped, and now the agent was staring at the small pin on Walter's jacket collar with suspicion. "It's just a medal," Walter said quietly. His English still carried the faint accent of someone who'd learned it as a second language, though he'd been speaking it for over 70 years. "I've never seen a medal like this before," the agent, his name tag read Brandon, said, leaning closer. "What is it? Where'd you get it?" The pin was unusual, Walter had to admit. Heavy, intricate. Chinese characters etched into bronze, an eagle, stars. Nothing like the standard military decorations people usually wore. "It was given to me," Walter said simply, "a long time ago." "By who?" "President Kennedy." Brandon's eyebrows shot up. Then he smirked. Not unkindly, but with the confidence of someone who thought he'd just caught someone in a lie. "President Kennedy? Sir, are you saying you met JFK?" "Yes," Walter said. 1953. He wasn't president yet. He was a senator. Brandon called over his supervisor. A woman in her mid-30s, name tag reading Karen. She looked at the pin, looked at Walter, looked at Brandon. "Sir," she said, her voice taking on that particular tone of authority mixed with suspicion. "This doesn't match any military decoration in our database. I'm going to need you to come with me to a secondary screening room." Behind them, the security line was backing up. Other passengers were getting restless. "Are you serious?" someone muttered. "We're going to miss our flight because of some old guy?" A woman pulled out her phone, started recording. "This is ridiculous," she said loud enough for everyone to hear. "TSA harassing an elderly man. This is going on Twitter." Walter said nothing. He simply nodded, picked up his shoes, and followed the supervisor to a small room off to the side. He'd been questioned before, doubted before. It came with the territory of being a Chinese-American war hero in a country that had never quite known what to do with him. But what none of them knew, not Brandon, not Karen, not the angry passengers pulling out their phones, was that 30 yards away, walking through the first-class security lane, a 4-star general had just caught a glimpse of that pin. And he'd frozen. San Francisco International Airport was hell at 6:45 a.m. Terminal 3 security checkpoint. 300 people jammed into switchback lines, clutching boarding passes and coffee cups, checking watches, silently calculating whether they'd make their flights. The TSA agents moved with practiced efficiency. Bags on belts, shoes in bins, walk through the scanner. Next, a normal morning, routine. But for Walter Chen, today would be different. In the secondary screening room, Walter sat in a plastic chair, hands on the table, calm. A police officer stood in the corner, eyes watchful but not hostile. Karen, the supervisor, was examining the pin, using a magnifying glass, looking at her phone, comparing photos. "Mr. Chen," she said finally, "this is a very unusual piece. It has Chinese characters, there's an eagle, but nothing in any military database matches this." "Because only 10 were made," Walter said softly. Karen frowned. 10? "Yes, in 1953, for the 10 bravest soldiers of the Korean War, special edition, presented by Senator John F. Kennedy." Karen looked skeptical. "Senator Kennedy? Before he was president?" "Yes." "And how can we verify this?" Walter shrugged. "I don't know. There's a museum at West Point. Maybe they have records there." Karen pulled out her phone. "I want to believe you, Mr. Chen, but protocol is protocol. Please wait." Walter waited. 20 minutes passed. 30 minutes. Outside, passengers were still angry. On social media, the video was starting to spread. Hashtag TSA abuse was beginning to trend. Meanwhile, first-class security lane. General Michael Bradford, United States Army, 4 stars, fresh from a Pentagon meeting, was flying to New York. He was in full-dress uniform, medals on his chest, stars on his shoulders, 50 years of service. He'd be retiring soon, but not yet. First-class security was fast, VIP treatment. He'd pass through in under a minute, but as he exited, he glanced sideways at regular security, saw an elderly man being led to a separate room, and for just a moment, just 1 second, he saw the pin on his jacket, bronze, Chinese characters, eagle, stars. The general froze. "No," he whispered. "It can't be." His aide turned. "Sir?" "That pin," the general pointed, but the old man had already entered the room. "Did you see that pin?" "No, sir, it was too far away." "That's a Medal of Honor," the general said, voice trembling. "Special edition, 1953. The one JFK gave. There are only 10. I've only seen one once, in the museum at West Point." His aide looked confused. "Are you sure?" "I'm sure." The general turned back, walked toward first-class security. "Cancel my flight." "Sir, I need to find that man, now." Secondary screening room. Karen was still on her phone, trying to call West Point, but on Saturday morning, no one was answering. "Mr. Chen, I'm sorry, but if we can't verify..." The door burst open. A 4-star general walked in. The room froze. Karen jumped to her feet. "Sir, this is a restricted area." The general didn't even look at her. He walked straight to Walter and rendered a sharp, perfect military salute. "Sergeant Walter Chen," the general said, voice filled with respect. "General Michael Bradford, United States Army. It is an honor to meet you." Walter slowly stood, confused. I'm just an old soldier, sir." "You are a Medal of Honor recipient," the general interrupted. "Chosin Reservoir, 1952. You saved 47 men, single-handedly. 18 hours of continuous combat. Wounded 3 times, and you never gave up." Karen's mouth fell open. The general turned to her. "This man is a national hero, and you accused him of carrying a suspicious object." I didn't know." "Of course you didn't know," the general said sharply, "because it's not in your database, because that medal is so rare that most people never see one in their lifetime. But I've seen it, and now you will immediately apologize to this man." Karen stumbled. "Sir, Mr. Chen, I'm so sorry. I was just following protocol." "Protocol," the general interrupted, "should never override respect. This man fought for your freedom, and you treated him like a terrorist. 70 years ago, Korea, 1952, Chosin Reservoir, one of the coldest, deadliest battles of the Korean War. Temperature minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit, blizzard conditions, thousands of Chinese soldiers surrounding 15,000 American troops. Walter Chen, 22 years old, Chinese-American soldier in the U.S. Army. Back then, discrimination was everywhere. Some soldiers looked at him with suspicion. The enemy. But Walter didn't care. He did his duty. His company, Charlie Company, 2nd Infantry Division, was surrounded. 200 enemy soldiers, 60 American soldiers. Ammunition was running out. The commander was wounded. Commander, bleeding out. "Chen, someone needs to get help, but no one's in any condition to go." Walter stood up. "I'll go." Commander, "Alone? That's suicide." Walter, "But staying here is guaranteed death. I'm going." Night, blizzard, minus 40 degrees. Walter, alone, walked 15 kilometers, cut through enemy lines, gunfire, explosions. But he didn't stop. He found help, a tank unit. "My company is surrounded. 60 men are dying." The tanks came. But the battle wasn't over yet. Walter went back, carried the wounded, one by one, 18 hours non-stop, shot 3 times, shoulder, leg, arm. But he didn't quit. He saved 47 men. The war ended. Walter came home. But home didn't welcome him as a hero. "Just a Chinaman," they said. "Still not really one of us." Senator John F. Kennedy wanted to honor Korean War veterans. He organized a special ceremony, invited the 10 bravest soldiers to the White House. Walter was there. JFK pinning the medal. Sergeant Chen, you are the embodiment of the American spirit. Courage, sacrifice, brotherhood. You are a hero, and America is grateful to you. But then JFK became president, was assassinated. And Walter was forgotten. 70 years he lived quietly, never bragged, never complained, just lived. Now, San Francisco Airport. General Bradford shook Walter's hand. Sir, I know your story. I taught at West Point. Your operation is in our textbooks. We call it the Chen Maneuver, single-handedly breaking through enemy lines to call for help. A legend. Walter's eyes filled with tears. People forgot. No, sir, the general said. I didn't forget. The Army didn't forget. And today, when you walk out of here, everyone will remember. The general walked outside, turned to TSA management. I want the airport director, now. 10 minutes later, the airport director arrived. The general explained the situation. This man is a Medal of Honor recipient, and your staff treated him like a criminal. What are you going to do about it? The director went pale. General Bradford, I'm so sorry. Immediately, apologies aren't enough, the general interrupted. I want action. An hour later, an announcement was made in Terminal 3. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a very special guest among us, Sergeant Walter Chen, Korean War veteran, Medal of Honor recipient. We would like to honor him. The entire terminal stopped. People looked. Walter, beside the general, walked through the terminal, and as he passed one by one, passengers began to applaud. Then they stood. The entire terminal was on its feet, clapping. TSA personnel lined up. As Walter passed, each one saluted. Brandon, the young agent, came before Walter. His eyes were wet. Sir, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Walter put his hand on his shoulder. It's okay, son. You were just doing your job. But here's a lesson. Never judge by the cover. Everyone has a story. Brandon nodded, crying. Walter was upgraded to first class, free of charge. The flight crew saluted him. Passengers asked for photos, and General Bradford canceled his own flight, sat in the seat next to Walter. Sir, Walter said, weren't you going to the Pentagon? I was, the general smiled. But being on a flight with you, this is more important. I want to hear your story, your real story. Throughout the flight, Walter told it. Chosin Reservoir, the blizzard. 47 men, 18 hours, JFK, the whole story. The general listened, took notes. This story shouldn't be lost, he said. With your permission, I'll write it, a book, in your name. Walter nodded. If it inspires young soldiers, yes. 3 months later, the video went viral. TSA questioned elderly hero. General saved him. 15 million views. TSA issued an official apology. We learned from our mistakes. We will never forget to respect our veterans. Brandon, the young TSA agent, enrolled in a special training program, military honor and recognition. He now learned how to give special treatment to veterans. General Bradford wrote the book, Forgotten Heroes, Walter Chen and Chosin Reservoir. It became a bestseller. Walter was invited to schools across the country. He told his story. To the younger generation, courage is independent of race. Heroism is independent of origin. America is strong in our diversity. And every year, on the anniversary of Chosin Reservoir, General Bradford would fly to San Francisco, meet with Walter, have dinner together, remember the 47 men. Because true heroes should never be forgotten. Walter Chen's story reminds us, don't judge by appearance. If you don't recognize a medal, maybe you should learn its story. Because sometimes the quietest people carry the loudest histories. Like, subscribe, and share, because every veteran deserves respect. Have you ever misjudged someone? Share below. Remember, heroism isn't always visible, but it always deserves respect.